Reminder that only delegates are allowed on the floor of the convention. All guests and visitors are welcome, but invited to please join us from the VIP boxes in the balcony area. To get to the visitor section in the balcony area, simply go back out the doors, go up the escalator to the next floor. Guests and visitors are welcome in the balcony area, the VIP boxes there on the third floor level of the event center. This time it's my privilege to call to order this Saturday morning session of the 2014 North Carolina Republican Party State Convention. As we prepare to get started today, we'll begin with an invocation. And to lead us in the invocation, it's my privilege to recognize David Rouser, candidate for Congress from the 7th Congressional District.
If you'll bow with me in prayer. Loving God, Lord, we come to you humbly this morning because we know that the founding of this country, its future, its survival, depends upon your blessings, which in part depends upon our obedience to you. Lord God, we have strayed far, far from the founding principles that this country was founded on. And Lord, give us the moral courage to do what is right, to stand tall for you, and to do what is pleasing and honorable in your sight. May you guide us and lead us in all ways, and give us the encouragement to continue to fight for all those great things that are pleasing in your sight, day in and day out. And help us not to be discouraged by sometimes what we see around us, but to continue in faith as you request. And Lord, just give us the faith to continue to obey and do your will. And may you bless everyone in here, the state of North Carolina, and this country. Thank you, and God bless you. Amen.
You'll remain standing. For the Pledge of Allegiance, we'll be led in the pledge this morning by Mary Lopez Carter, candidate for the North Carolina Senate. We will follow that, and you'll remain standing again. We'll follow that with the national anthem. And before we're led the national anthem, the chair will introduce the members of the band who will be playing that for us. But please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. That's Coakley, candidate for Congress from the 12th Congressional District, as opposed to Mary Lopez Carter.
Let's pledge together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
This morning, the Bluegrass Band Austin Sound will be singing the national anthem for us. Their members are Andrew Austin, Matthew Austin, Mason Austin, Taylor Whitson, and Scott Dodson. Please remain standing for our national anthem.
by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does our star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you once again, Austin Sound. Andrew Austin, Matthew Austin, Mason Austin, Taylor Whitson, and Scott Dodson. Please remain standing. No, I'm just kidding. That was just for my amusement. At this time, we'll have a welcome today from the 11th District and from Swain County. And for the purpose of welcoming us this morning, this is the chair's privilege to recognize Mr. David Sawyer.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Chairman Pope. And I'd like to thank all of you for coming to Cherokee this weekend to attend the 2014 Republican Convention here in the state of North Carolina. Folks, we're making a little bit of history here today. This is the first time in the history of the North Carolina Republican Party that we've had a state convention west of Asheville. And thank you. And on behalf of the people of Swain County, Jackson County, the 11th Congressional District, and Cherokee, we'd like to welcome you here and hope you really enjoy your trip to the western part of the state. This is only, in my 20-plus years involvement with the state party, this is only the third time that we've had a convention in Asheville or west, and the last two that I referred to were in Asheville. So we're very proud to be here. We're very proud that you've chosen to come here this weekend. And Ralph Slaughter, the chairman of Jackson County, gave you a thorough description of Jackson County yesterday. Those of you that were here, you now know every waterfall, every mountaintop, and most of the restaurants in Jackson County. I won't do that today, but I am going to refer you to something. In your packets, the red bags that you have here, we have made sure that you have information regarding this area. I know that most of you probably don't get to the mountains very much. I know it's a long way up here. I've been told by people that live here, they know it's a long way because we have to travel to Raleigh quite often and it's the same distance. But we want to make sure that you are aware of the things in the area. We encourage you to get out and experience the mountains, to experience the attractions, the natural beauty of this area. Many of those you'll find in these pamphlets that are in your packets. And while you're doing that, while you're traveling around the western part of the state and spending your money out here, which we encourage also, we encourage you to think about what you can do and what we can do to help these candidates get elected in the fall. This is the beginning. Your trip to Cherokee is the beginning of the 2016 general election campaign, and we're hoping, and we hope that you'll agree with us, that when we leave here today and then tomorrow, and we leave the convention tomorrow afternoon, that we will be a united party, that will stand behind these candidates, that will get them elected. And
Again, welcome to the mountains. Welcome to Swain and Jackson County. Many of you may not know that Cherokee is actually in several counties, primarily Swain and Jackson. That's why you're being subjected to 2 county chairs up here talking about their counties. But we welcome you. We hope you enjoy your trip. We hope that the state party will come back sometime in the future. Thank you very much. Thank you, David. This time it's my privilege to introduce to you 2 of the justices of the North Carolina Supreme Court. Their purpose today will be to introduce to you some of our outstanding judicial candidates this coming election cycle. So would you please join me in welcoming North Carolina Justice Bob Edmonds and Justice Barbara Jackson.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Bob Edmonds, a justice on your Supreme Court, Barbara Jackson, and I will be introducing this presentation of the candidates for the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals. And I'm going to give you a 2-minute description of the Supreme Court. I gave to as many of you as I could a composite photograph of the current makeup of the court. Look around and see if somebody's got one. Now, I'm the handsome devil at the top right, but Justice Martin is running for Chief Justice, and the other candidates who are here today to speak to you for this court are Judge Bob Hunter, Judge Eric Levinson, and Mike Robinson. Now, the Supreme Court is the only constitutional court in the state. We interpret the Constitution of the state, the laws passed by the General Assembly, and we're the final word on that law. Even the United States Supreme Court cannot tell us we're wrong, so our job is to get it right. We're the end of the line. I've been on the court 14 years. I think in this time I can't think of a half dozen cases that the U.S. Supreme Court has taken from us. And we sometimes get a little flack because we don't turn out a huge number of opinions, but that's not our job. Our job is to get it right, and there aren't any shortcuts for that. For instance, I've spent an entire summer working on a single knotty case, and that's hardly unusual among my colleagues, because being careful is vital, because every word we read, every word we write is read by creative and imaginative lawyers across the state. So our opinions have to be clear, they have to be logical, they have to be precise, and they have to be persuasive. Because what we write today is cited and studied long after the rest of us are dead and gone. Every word matters. And if there's any question anywhere about what we have written in our opinions, we're not doing our job. Our responsibilities are grave. We deal with cases that deal with millions, sometimes tens of millions of dollars. We deal with cases that involve life and death. All of us have cast votes by which people have died and cast votes by which people are living. It's an important job. Please pay attention to who you vote to put on the court to make these grave responsibilities. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Barbara Jackson, and it's my privilege to serve you as an Associate Justice on your Supreme Court. I'm pleased to introduce your candidates for the Court of Appeals. Judge Donna Stroud, who's in the enviable position of not being opposed during this election cycle. Judge Paul Holcomb, who is a District Court Judge serving in Johnston, Harnett, and Lee counties. And Judge Bill Southern, who's a District Court Judge serving in Stokes and Surrey counties. Both Justice Edmonds and I previously served on the Court of Appeals, and most of us who have know that it's the workhorse court of our appellate system. During 2013, the Court of Appeals filed approximately 1,300 opinions and dealt with approximately 900 petitions and 3,200 motions. These numbers aren't fixed, and the court has dealt with as many as 1,700 opinions in recent memory. The decisions made by that court in education, real property, criminal, land use, and employment law affect all of us on a daily basis. For most cases, the Court of Appeals has the final word. Well, what does this mean? With 15 judges on the court, it's basically like writing 2 term papers a week. Yeah. In addition to all the writing, there's a lot of reading. The Chief Judge of the Court of Appeals once told me he estimated we did about 1,000 to 2,000 pages of reading to prepare for each week of oral argument. Keep in mind that oral argument occurs at the Court of Appeals twice a month when the court is in session. So you see that it's critical that folks who are interested in the Court of Appeals come well prepared and prepared to work. Finally, it's important to come with the right attitude. The Court of Appeals is an error-correcting court. If something goes wrong at the trial court, It's their job to ensure that wrong is righted. The court is not there to boldly break new legal ground. So judicial restraint is an important quality to look for in a judicial candidate for this court. Sometimes judges are called upon to rule in a manner that may not be our personal choice, but we take an oath to uphold the constitutions of both the United States and North Carolina, and that comes first, not our personal choices. I've had the privilege of campaigning with Richard Burr 2 times. You know what he tells us? Elections have consequences. Please remember that as you listen to these fine judicial candidates. Thank you very much.
Paul Holcomb. In your program, you'll see that I was listed last. I thought as a result of that I was going to get more time than everybody else, but instead they told me I needed to go first, and I only had 2 minutes. So I thought about what I would tell you if I had 5 minutes. If I had 5 minutes, I was going to tell you a little bit about my family, about how I've been married to my lovely wife for 20 years this year, how I have 2 daughters, and that they are best described as 12 o'clock girls going to 8 o'clock schools. If I'd had 4 minutes to talk to you today, I was going to tell you a little bit about what it's been like to be one of your candidates for the last year, how I repeat, did not make the Kinston paper when I was there, and also how at another event I learned the meaning of the phrase, history is made by those who show up. Then I thought what I would tell you about if I had 3 minutes to talk to you. I would tell you a little bit about my career as a prosecutor for 14 years before I became a district court judge. I would tell you a little bit about how I worked with law enforcement officers and other public officials to make sure that we had safe neighborhoods, safe schools, and places where you could live and work and enjoy your family. But they only gave me 2 minutes to talk to you. So in 2 minutes, I only have time to thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your creativity, your energy, what you bring to the party. And thank you on my behalf and on behalf of all my fellow candidates for helping make sure that we win our election statewide in November. My name is Paul Holcomb, and I'm running for the Court of Appeals. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on my list is Bob Hunter. We're going. Okay, we'll go with Bill Southern.
Nice suit.
No, I apologize. I am not Bob Hunter. I'm not that good looking. But ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Bill Southern. I'm a district court judge currently up in Surry and Stokes counties. If you're familiar with, thank you. If you're familiar with the Andy Griffith Show, that's Mayberry. I'm proud to be here with you this morning, and I'm proud to ask for your support this year in my campaign for the North Carolina Court of Appeals. It's so vital this year that we elect good judges that understand what the role of a judge is, and that's to say what the law is, not what the law should be. I'm asking for your support to help get out there and campaign for all of these 7 statewide judicial campaigns that we have this year, folks. That's a lot of judges. I understand it can be difficult sometimes to separate out all the names that you'll see down there at the bottom of the ballot. We're right there above soil and water conservation. It can be very difficult. That's why it is vital that this great crowd here early on a Saturday morning is going to go out there and help us remind voters how vital it is that we elect these good judges this year, judges that understand what that role is. If I wanted to make the law, I could run for the legislature, folks, but that's not my job as a judge. Certainly not as a district court judge, and it won't be my job as a judge on the North Carolina Court of Appeals. I'm proud to have served Surry and Stokes counties as a certified juvenile court judge for the work that I do in abuse, neglect, and dependency law, as well as delinquency matters with our state's juveniles. Prior to that time, I served as an assistant district attorney in Surry and Stokes counties as well, where I prosecuted career criminals and worked hand in hand with law enforcement to protect victims' rights. Folks, that's the type of experience I believe that we need at not only the trial court level, but at the appellate level as well. And I'm asking for your support to help us spread the word about how important these judicial races are. And I know that with all the names of these judicial candidates to remember, it can be very difficult to keep us all straight. But when you get down there to the bottom of the ballot, if you don't remember anything else, just remember, just vote Southern. Thank you.
Also running for the Court of Appeals for a different seat, not contesting with Bill Southern, Donna Stroud.
Good morning, everyone. I am Judge Donna Stroud. I'm the lucky judge that Justice Jackson told you about on the Court of Appeals who is running unopposed this year. That is a tremendous blessing, and I thank God for that, and I thank all of you for that, because without your support when I've run before and ever since, I would not be in this wonderful position of being unopposed in this statewide race. So I don't want to spend any time talking about me. I just want to tell you that your support is so important for all of these candidates. And we have 7 races up this year in our appellate courts. That is a lot of judges, a lot of people to keep up with, and they need your help. And our courts work very well, and you have got some excellent candidates here. I think you will see in all of the people that you have heard from and that you will hear from, we have got some excellent candidates with excellent experience. And with your help, we can get them on our Court of Appeals and our Supreme Court. And your help is so important in these races that are such low information races. You are very important because you talk to all your friends and you talk to your family and you let people know about these races. It's extremely important. We all appreciate it very much. I appreciate your support so very much. So thank you so much.
Next, we'll hear from 3 of our candidates for the North Carolina Supreme Court, beginning first with Judge Bob Hunter.
Billy Miller from Charlotte. This is his 16th or 17th convention as chairman. He doesn't notice this yet.
I'm Judge Bob Hunter, and I'm a Republican. I've been a Republican since 1964. I've been a precinct worker. I've been a county recruiting chairman. I've been working for Howard Cobalt as his campaign manager when he first ran for Congress. I've been a chairman of the State Board of Elections for the Republicans. I've served as a grassroots person all my life. I'm like you. I know where you sweat.
Sit down the road. My GPS thing.
And I want to thank you for your good work. Over the years, the people of North Carolina have entrusted their government to us for the first time in over 100 years. That's a great achievement, and we ought to thank ourselves for that. But just because we've come into the promised land doesn't mean that we can forget who we are or where we came from. I'm a judge who doesn't mind telling the government no. I hope that's okay with you guys. I've seen you, and I know where you are and what you expect of your judges. And I'm going to be as fair to every litigant as I know how to be. I'm going to enforce the Constitution even if they don't like it. Our party does not use race as a method of trying to garner and divide our people. We are lighting candles all over this state and all over this country. And we can't just curse the darkness. We have to stand for something, and I'm happy to stand for the constitutional principles that our social compact has done. Now this weekend, I want you to come meet me and the other judges in our hospitality suite tonight after the convention, if you haven't met us. We need your help desperately in this grassroots campaign, because grassroots is what's going to win. I'm Bob Hunter, and I'm your candidate for Mark Martin's seat on the North Carolina Supreme Court. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear this morning from Judge Eric Levinson.
This approach is pretty otherworldly, I think.
Good morning. Last week I was having lunch at a Chinese restaurant in Newton, North Carolina. Where's Catawba County this morning? And we were having lunch at a Chinese restaurant. Following the meal, the waitress, of course, brought us our fortune cookie. And my fortune cookie read as follows, the message: surround yourself with people who have a strong sense of duty. Duty, I discovered thereafter, is defined online as a moral or legal responsibility. And it is, frankly, the value that motivates so many to serve selflessly in our policing agencies, in our state house, in our schools, and like so many of my colleagues who wear black robes into our courtrooms every day, who serve because of their desire to do good and to advance the rule of law. Duty. I think, too, about Adam Smith. We all know Adam Smith, the Wealth of Nations. Even he outlined an important duty of our sovereign governments. And I quote here, the duty of establishing an exact administration of justice. It is my passion for North Carolina, it is my sense of duty to the people of this state, and it is my faith in God and to a commitment to help fulfill the needs of justice that drive my desire to serve. We are, by the way, we should take a moment to thank Jeanette Doran, who stepped up to serve during the primary process, and if we could all take a moment to thank her for stepping forward and seeking a seat on the Supreme Court as well. It is said that nothing is stronger than the heart of a volunteer. You have great care and concern for the people of the state. You do not seek praise or reward, but you act because of our common concern for the future of North Carolina. At the end of the day, we are here on a beautiful morning in Cherokee because of our duty, our moral responsibility to work for a better North Carolina. I am proud to be a member of the Judiciary of North Carolina. I'm proud to be with you here today. My commitments are to remain true to the rule of law, to exercise judicial restraint, and to respect our constitutional republic. Surround yourself with people who have a strong sense of duty. A simple, meaningful message from a simple Chinese fortune cookie from Catawba County. And one simple message that has application to the volunteers in this room and to those who hold some measure of public responsibility. I respectfully seek your support this year in the November election for the Supreme Court of North Carolina, and I look forward to meeting the folks here that I've not already had a chance to talk with. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Mike Robinson. Convention will be in order. The convention will be in order. Next, we'll hear from candidate for North Carolina Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Mark Martin.
Good morning. Thank you, Joe. What a pleasure to be here with you this morning. You know, I am very aware, having attended many state Republican conventions, of the sacrifices that each and every one of you have made to be here. Not only is the hotel a great personal expense, the hotel rooms are expensive, but you've left your home, you've left your families to be here because you believe in freedom, because you believe in America. And I say this with all due respect to the very principled individual that we just saw on this stage. But I have to ask, where is my opponent? The office of Chief Justice. The Chief Justice leads the Supreme Court and supervises the administration of justice in 100 far-flung North Carolina counties. It is not the position for a newcomer, a beginner to the court. I was appointed by Governor Jim Martin to the bench in 1992. I am now in my 16th year of service on the Supreme Court. The reason every one of my Republican colleagues has endorsed me is they know the sharp learning curve there is for new members of the Supreme Court. From institutional customs to procedures to opinions that we work on very hard to make sure that each and every North Carolinian gets the uniform application of the law. And in addition to the Chief Justice having the same number of decisions and participating in the same number of cases, the Chief Justice is responsible for the administration of justice across North Carolina. This is not a position you can have if you have not worked at the Supreme Court. It's much like the companies many of you run. You would not put the newcomer as president on day one. After 20 years on the appellate courts, and when I arrived on the appellate courts, I realized it was a very different job than the trial courts. I have taken part in thousands of appellate decisions, and I'm the only candidate in that race who has done so. And by virtue of that, I am endorsed by every single living former Chief Justice. Thank you very much. I respectfully ask for your support, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. That concludes the judicial candidates that we'll hear from this morning. We'll now begin to move into the business portion of this morning's session. Before we can conduct business, we have to receive and adopt a report from the Credentials Committee. Is the Credentials Committee ready to report at this time? Is the Credentials Committee ready to report? The gentleman will suspend. Do we have a report from the Credentials Committee? To what purpose does the gentleman rise?
Sir, I'm Bill Randolph from Yancey County. I'd like to make a motion to reopen registration. We have a lot of folks outside that got here that would love to be counted in.
We can't receive motions at this point until we've settled who's allowed to vote on those. That's the purpose of the Credentials Committee report. The gentleman will hold that. Once we conclude our credentials, then the chair would entertain a motion at that time. For the purpose of Credentials Committee report this morning, the chair recognizes Ms. April.
Good morning. Welcome to my mountains. It's North Carolina's most beautiful place. In fact, one time a man died and went to heaven. When he got to heaven, he was walking through and he saw a big cage over there and had a bunch of people in it. And he asked the Lord, he said, "Why have you got all these people pinned up?" He said, "Well, you see, they're from Western North Carolina, and if we turn them loose, they try to go back." Glad you're here. All right, Mr. Chairman, we have Alamance County with 5 delegates, Alexander County with 3, Allegheny with 2, Anson with 7 delegates and 4 alternates, Avery County with 4, Beaufort County with 5, Bertie with 1, Bladen with 1, Brunswick with 15,
For the purpose of this report, the primary county anyone would need here is their own. For the sake of time, we do like to try and move through this as quickly as we can. The only person that can challenge a county is the person from that county anyway. So delegates will listen for their own county, and then we'll take opportunity for questions and corrections in a few moments.
Buncombe with 10, Burke with 3, Cabarrus 19, Caldwell 4, Carteret 10, Caswell 1, Catawba 9, Chatham 11, Cherokee 8, Chowan 6 with 1 alternate, Clay with 9 and 3 alternates, Cleveland 8, Columbus 1, Craven 7, Cumberland 7, Dare 5, Davidson 2, Davie 2, Duplin 2, Durham 10, Edgecombe 3, Forsyth 9, Franklin 4, Gaston 10, Gates 5, Graham 1, Granville 2, Guilford 19, Halifax 10, Harnett 11, Haywood 7, Henderson 11, Iredell 10, Jackson 16 and 5 alternates, Johnston 6, Jones 2, Lee 9, Lenore 5, Lincoln 4, Macon 12, Madison 3, McDowell 4, Mecklenburg 27, Mitchell 11 with 1 alternate, Montgomery 3, Moore 16, Nash 5, New Hanover 5, Northampton 7, Onslow 5, Orange 10, Pender 9, Person Hill, Pitt 5, Hope 1, Randolph 5, Richmond 7, Robeson 6, Rockingham 7, Rowan 2, Rutherford 3, Sampson 2, Scotland 2, Stanley 7, Stokes 4, Surrey 14, Swain 8 with 2 alternates, Transylvania 18, Union 16, Vance 1, Wake 28, Warren 1, Washington 1, Watauga 2, Wayne 11, Wilkes 3, Wilson 3, Yancey 5 with 1 alternate. Mr. Chairman, that's the total is 601.
At this point, are there any additions, deletions, corrections, or questions with regard to the report of the Credentials Committee? Recognize the gentleman. Do we have the microphones on?
Dave Joint, we dispute the count for Brunswick County.
Brunswick was announced at 15. You believe you have more?
Yes, we do.
The gentleman, please report to the credentials table. Further questions for the Credentials Committee? Recognizing the gentleman.
Scotland County, we have 3 delegates.
Scotland County was reported at 2 yes. The gentleman, please report to the credentials table. Further questions, additions, deletions, corrections for the credentials report? Recognizing the gentleman.
Caswell County, we have 2 delegates.
If the gentleman will please report to the table. Recognizing the gentleman.
Warren County, we also have 2 delegates.
The gentleman will please report to the credentials table.
Madison County, we have 4.
Madison County, the gentlelady will please report to the table.
Gaston County, we should have 13.
Gentleman will report to the table, please. Further questions, additions, corrections, deletions to the report? Recognizing the gentleman.
Randolph County, 4.
It is possible that 5 people have, that's not necessarily a problem. If the gentleman believes someone has been registered improperly, he should report to the table. Chair, thanks the gentleman.
Linda Dahl, Mitchell County. I believe I was registered wrong.
The gentlelady will please report to the table. Again, while we work on a few minutes of addressing these questions for the Credentials Committee, the Chair would ask again yesterday at this time how many delegates were here for the very first time. It's your very first state convention. Anybody here? How many of you today? Today is your first day of the state convention. If that's your case, today's your first day of the state convention. Would you raise your hand? Yeah, that's great. Give them a hand. Thank you for being here. The rest of you understand this process. For those of you who may be new to the process, the purpose of credentials, and it can be tedious, it is laborious, but it is very, very important. The purpose of credentials is to make sure that all the persons participating in the business portion of our convention are in fact authorized to do so, that they are in fact registered Republicans, that they did go through the correct process at the precinct level and the county convention level. And so all that is taken, and then that they've registered to be here as well. And so there are a number of steps to being able to participate in the convention, and the Credentials Committee is there to make sure that we all walk through those steps. Because there are so many of us, there are always a few glitches in that process, and it always takes a few minutes to iron those out. We'll have this report, we'll have another report this afternoon for the afternoon session, because there will be, I believe, one more opportunity to register at the convention. And so this just happens, and as a part of the process, the chair begs the convention's indulgence. This is a terrific time to look through the brochure. Not the brochure, but the convention program. We will begin, once we have established our credentials for this morning's business section, we will return to the business we were on yesterday, which is a consideration of several proposed amendments to the state plan of organization. In the North Carolina Republican Party, the state plan of organization is the highest governing document for this state. It's in essence our Constitution. And there are 7 proposed amendments, I think at this point 6, plus one that is coming from the floor that was introduced yesterday or about to be introduced yesterday. And so that's the first thing we'll do today, is return to that discussion. It's a great time to read through those, be sure you understand them. Try and get your questions answered so that we can just have our debate and vote rather than spend a lot of time answering questions. Is Mr. Strack here? Phil Strack, are you in the convention hall at this point? It might not be a bad time, Phil, to gather your committee, and if anyone has just informational questions, they can take care of that now rather than during debate time. If anyone has questions of an informational nature about the proposed amendments to the plan of organization, to the convention's far left, the chair's far right, the gentleman waving his hand right now is Mr. Phil Strack. He's the chairman of the Plan of Organization Committee. You may go see him during this time, get your question and answers. That'll save us some time when we move into actually discussing and voting in a few minutes. The chair thanks the convention for its indulgence.
Mr. Chairman, Chair-elect.
Recognize the gentleman.
Ted Hicks, Durham County. So I'm being told that we probably have 11, so you mind if I report?
Durham County?
Yes.
Absolutely. Again, while the Credentials Committee investigates the questions before it, a couple of quick reminders. Once again, only delegates are allowed on the floor of the convention, as persons with badges that say delegate or alternate on them. Any guests and visitors are welcome. We'd love to have you with us, but guests and visitors are asked to please be seated in the VIP booths in the balcony section. And so if you are a guest or visitor, and you're on the convention floor, the chair would ask you to please exit this room, go around back up the escalator to the balcony area, to the VIP seating section there, and that's the area where guests and visitors need to be seated. Additionally, a couple of quick announcements. Speaker of the House Tom Tillis, our candidate for the United States Senate, will be in his suite this morning from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. Anyone who would like to see him, he'll be welcoming visitors. Stop by and see him from 11 to 12 today. There are also a few tickets left for today's luncheon featuring Governor Bobby Jindal and former Secretary of Education William Bennett. A few tickets are still available for the luncheon. If you would like to pick up a ticket to that luncheon today, you can see Allie or Greg at the on-site registration desk where you picked up your packet. So a few tickets are left for the luncheon. I also understand there are a couple of tickets, very few, but a few tickets left for this evening's dinner featuring Governor Mike Huckabee and former U.S. Speaker of the House Dennis Hastert. There are a few tickets available for the dinner as well, and those can also be purchased at the registration desk on site. Once again, while we are waiting for the Credentials Committee to do its work, if anyone has questions regarding the proposed plans of the proposed amendments to the State Plan of Organization, the chairman of that committee is available to the far left of the convention hall, Mr. Phil Strack. The chair would encourage delegates to go ask questions now so that time is not used for that during the debate portion. Convention will please be in order. Convention will please be in order. While we continue to wait on the work of our Credentials Committee, the chair at this time would recognize the Vice Chair of the North Carolina Republican Party, Ms. Carolyn Justice.
This time I'm not going to move the microphone. Can you hear me? I'm going to have a crick in my neck before I'm finished. I'm very partial to Senate and House members in North Carolina, since I was one. And so, since it's not on the schedule anywhere, I thought during this downtime, we'd ask our state House members and senators to stand so we can welcome you to the convention. I saw a lot more of you before. You must be coming and going. And we have some former House members. I see Representative Trudy Whalen. Stand up, Trudy. You all know Trudy? And we had another one right there. Who was there, Trudy? Blackwood. Curtis Blackwood. Is he gone? Oh, hey, Curtis. Curtis and I went to the General Assembly at the same time. And we were like seat 110 and 111. We came a long way there with Curtis.
Chair, thanks, Jillian, and thanks to all the members of the North Carolina House and Senate from the Republican Party. This time, the Credentials Committee is ready to provide amendments to their report, so the convention will be in order. Recognizing once again Ms. April Riddle.
Mr. Chairman, we have the following changes to report. Brunswick County now has 17 delegates. Buncombe County now has 12 delegates. Caswell County now has 1 alternate. 1 alternate and 1 delegate. Chowan County has 8 delegates. Macon County now has 14 delegates. Madison County now has 5. Pender County now has 10. Scotland County has 3. Swain County now has 7 delegates. Wake County now has 29. And that is a total of 614. Alternates, 18 alternates.
All right, given those adjustments, are there any questions, additions, deletions, or corrections to the Credentials Committee report? Any further questions? Recognizing the gentleman.
Question, to who is the report available to?
The report is posted, as the chair understands it. It should be publicly posted somewhere, either at the table or the entrance, someplace. I believe it is posted.
Beyond the convention?
Pardon?
Who is it available to beyond the convention?
Beyond the, I have no idea. Chair, thanks, gentlemen. Yes, ma'am.
Is it in order to move that delegates that are alternative delegates be moved up to regular delegates if the seats are available?
The chair's waiting for an answer on that question right now, if the seats are available or not. Chair, thanks, young lady. Other questions, additions, deletions, or corrections to the report? Seeing none at this time, we'll go ahead and
Chairman.
Recognize the gentleman.
Dave Joy from Brunswick. Is the topic of reopening?
No topic is in order right now other than the Credentials Committee report.
Thank you.
The motion is to adopt the report as amended. The motion comes from committee, therefore no second is required. All those in favor of adopting the report as amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Independent chair, the ayes have it. The report is adopted. Do we have an answer from the committee? I need the Credentials Committee chair to please respond. Is there room for the 18 delegates to be seated as alternates? There is room. The motion recognizes the gentlelady, Dr. Fisher, from Iredell County. Rowan County, sorry, I wouldn't do that to Iredell.
I had to show my driver's license to get this school.
Motion from Dr. Fisher to seat the 18 alternates as delegates. That would make our total delegate count for this morning's business session 632. Is there a second to seat alternates as delegates? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. Independent chair, the ayes have it. And we have credentialed 632 persons to function as delegates for this morning's business session. This time we'll return to the business we were in yesterday, which was a consideration of proposed amendments to the state plan of organization. The chair would refer delegates to the blue convention booklet. Yesterday, it was moved that we consider these amendments seriatim, which is by paragraph or in sections. And after a lengthy debate, it was voted yesterday to refer amendment number 1 to committee for a report at the next state convention. So this time we move to proposed amendment number 2 in the book regarding additional methods of voting, in essence allowing votes on committees to be taken telephonically or by other electronic means stipulated within the proposed amendment. Is there any discussion on proposed amendment 2 to the state plan of organization? Recognizing the gentlelady. The chair will remind the convention at this time there are 2 microphones in the convention hall, here and here. Delegates who wish to debate will please make their way toward those microphones. Delegates who have a question or wish to raise a point of order, point of information, point of parliamentary inquiry, things of that nature may simply shout out loudly from their area. The chair will attempt to find them for that purpose, but anyone wishing to debate, the chair would ask they please move toward the microphone. Recognizing the gentlelady.
Dr. Fisher from Merwin County. I had a question about Article 2, and no more questions for the rest of them. I like them. In the Article 2, it's 7L, action without meeting. The question came up in the Central Committee. Does this imply that if you're doing telephone conferences, etc., that you may vote on telephones and have those votes be an action for the body where you never see the face of the person who's voting?
Chair, thanks, gentlelady. And to answer that, we'll recognize the chairman of the Plan of Organization Committee, Mr. Bill Stroud.
Dr. Fisher, it's a good question. This, Section 7L would not allow that. That requires a written consent to take any action without a meeting. But the 7K would allow the committee to meet and take action over the phone or by some other web-based method that allowed each member to hear each other and simultaneously communicate in the meeting at one time.
Further discussion, questions with regard to proposed amendment number 2? Recognizing the gentlelady.
Sandbun, Wade County. I wish to speak against this proposed change.
Chair, thanks, gentlelady. This time, the chair would refer the convention to Rule 9C. Disclosure and disclosure of any contest shall develop over any matter other than a nomination or election. The convention chairman, that's me, may, at his discretion, allow each side not more than 5 minutes to present its position. This time, the chair will invoke this privilege for the remainder of the discussion of proposed amendment 2. We'll allow 5 minutes in the affirmative, 5 minutes in the negative. First, the chair must offer an opportunity to the affirmative. Does the gentleman wish to speak on behalf? Recognize the gentlelady for a time not to exceed 2 minutes in the negative.
In principle, I support operating in the 21st century. So therefore, I support the opportunity that we have to use all means necessary to conduct good, accurate, complete, and timely business. Many committees on various levels of our party have the opportunity to conduct in-person meetings and also conference call meetings. There's an additional opportunity, I presume, to vote by email. I do not feel that the execution of this action is handled equally and fairly and the same each time. Therefore, I will vote against this proposed change as a way to illustrate that anyone who is a chair of a committee should exercise the utmost care to complete a conference call or an email vote if that is the wish of the committee to expedite business. I will do so to urge them to carry it out if this passes in the absolute most fair process for each member. Raise your hand if you have participated in a conference call where you were unable to hear all the points in an accurate and complete fashion. Apparently, the rest of you have never participated in conference calls. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Delegates wishing to speak in favor of the proposed amendment? Delegates wishing to speak in favor of the proposed amendment? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Recognizing the gentlelady.
I really believe in conference calls. My only hang-up is that I don't think that people should take the votes on conference calls because you miss the chance to interact with people and you don't often get a chance to have all your questions answered and discussed. I will go by the will of the body, but I will oppose this because I don't think that votes should be taken on conference calls. I think people need the ability to sit and interact with each other and discuss these things, and you can't do that on a conference call.
Chair thanks the gentlelady. Delegates wishing to speak in favor, recognizing the chairman of the committee, Mr. Stratton.
I think it's been recognized, most committees that you're probably on already do this. So to some extent, this is simply a conforming change to make sure that we're doing things in conformance with the state plan. I will say, I would like to also point out, this only gives the chairman of the committee discretion to do this. This doesn't mandate a telephone call, it doesn't mandate anything, it doesn't mandate that a vote be taken. The chairman of the committee and the committee itself still has the discretion to meet in person before they take the vote, or to meet in person in lieu of a telephone call. This simply authorizes this method of communication. And my interpretation of the vote that was taken earlier by the delegate is that most of you have participated in conference calls and been able to hear just fine, and were able to participate just fine. And I think it makes sense for us to, as the delegate said, get into the 21st century.
Gentlelady rises to a point of information. Gentlelady, the chair will repeat it.
Colleen Combs from Brunswick County, and I guess my first point is that
Gentlelady has a question.
Yes, it should presence in the last second to the last sentence of 7K actually be present?
Yes, without objection. Is there objection to changing presence to present? Hearing none, so ordered.
And does this procedure, which is described in 7L, first require that the committee get consent of everyone to have such a meeting, and then the meeting is held? And does this somehow imply that the committee members...
The gentlelady will suspend one point of information at a time. It's the understanding of the chairman that consent is required to take action in this fashion, but not to meet in this fashion. The committee does not have to give its entire consent to meet in this fashion. The chairman can call a meeting in this fashion without the consent of the committee, but to take action in this fashion would require the consent of everyone.
what does action include? Voting on something?
Correct. Yes, ma'am. Jim, we'll take these one at a time. Mr. Willis is asking, the most recent edition of Robert's Rules of Order, which is updated periodically, we're currently on the 11th edition, the changes from the 10th to the 11th were primarily put in place to deal with things like electronic voting and media changes. And the gentleman's point of information is this consistent with provisions allowed under the 11th edition of Robert's Rules of Order? Did you guys compare that when you did that? It is the opinion of the chairman as well as the opinion of the committee chair that they're consistent. They're not identical. The opinion of the chairman of the committee offering the amendment that this is actually a bit more protective than currently provided under Robert's Rules. Second point of information. Chair, thanks, gentlemen. The second point of information was, as a matter of experience, has it been found to be the case that meetings tend to be better attended when they're allowed to be attended electronically as opposed to requiring actual driving to a physical location? It would be the opinion of the chairman, this chairman's opinion would be that has been his experience. The chair cannot cite data to back up that answer. The chair's not aware of scientific data to support that answer, but it would be this chair's experience that being able to attend electronically does in fact end up creating more people attending meetings. Chair, thanks, gentlemen, for the points of information. Was there one other point of information? Seeing none, we'll return to debate. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the proposed amendment? Wishing to speak in opposition? Gentlelady?
This is my first time here, so. I'm Lisa Martin from Brunswick County. As a person with a security background, and I'm sure there's others here, I would just caution persons on conference calls of delicate natures. This is, in opposition to the other party, conversations, strategy, whatever. It's very easy to record, tape, have somebody else in the room on a conference call and others not know it. Just take that into consideration.
Sure, thanks, gentlelady. Anyone wishing to speak in support of the proposed amendment, recognize the gentleman.
Sean McGowan, Cabarrus County. Former Cabarrus County Chairman, we have had some experience over the past year with these kind of methods that are being mentioned. I appreciate and understand those who say that it is not ideal to participate in such meetings by conference call. And to that I would say that is your incentive to attend the meeting. For such meetings that we have employed this technique in Cabarrus County, we have found that our attendance has been high, and generally we are able to then get unanimous participation by the executive committee in order to deal with matters, usually having only one or two members who are participating by the conference call. We have worked prior with the state, and I think that's part of why this rule came about. The other thing that I would mention is, again, this is the technology hiccups or the things that you may run into is your disincentive to just not attend the meeting. So this actually incentivizes attendance so that you can engage and participate in debate. Those who engage and participate by conference, by teleconference, generally are not the ones who are bringing up most of the points. They are there more as an observatory role, and it is possible that they don't hear everything. Again, that would incentivize those to come to the meetings. The last point that I would make is that we had a county commissioner that we had to appoint, and a lot of times we are bound by a 10-day period. In the case of appointing a commissioner, we had to give 10-day notice to our members to attend said meeting, and we had to give, within 30 days, our recommendation to the county commission. So we were squeezed at both ends. It is not possible to make sure one date can work for everyone. In this case, we had a candidate who wanted to be considered, who actually participated by teleconference over Skype. Now, that candidate may or may not have been helped.
Gentlemen will suspend. Time has expired. We return to opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the proposed amendment? Wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, once again wishing to speak in the affirmative? Recognizing the gentlelady.
Mr. Chairman, Seal Wasserman, Craven County. Call the question.
The motion previous question is a parliamentary technique. It is a motion. It will require a second and it will require 2/3 vote, but it is a motion to end debate and move into an immediate vote. So this time, the gentlelady has moved the previous question. Is there a second for the motion previous question? The gentleman will state his name and county, please. Previous question has been moved and seconded. Those voting in the affirmative are voting to end debate and vote on the amendment. Those voting in the negative are voting to continue the debate. All those in favor of the previous question being ordered, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. We will now move into a vote on the proposed amendment number 2, additional methods of voting. Those voting in the affirmative are voting to adopt this amendment. Those in the negative are voting, obviously, not to adopt the amendment. All those in favor of adopting proposed amendment number 2, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Independent chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. We move now to amendment 3. Was suggested earlier to the chair, and the chair considers it actually a good suggestion.
Mr. Chair?
The gentleman will suspend, that we consider amendments 3 and 4 as a unit. To what purpose does the gentleman rise?
To make a motion to adjourn until 2 p.m.
The gentleman will suspend in just a moment. The chair will recognize that motion in just a second. The chair would ask, holding that motion in play, to ask unanimous consent that when we do take this up, whether it's now or at 2 p.m., that we consider proposed amendments 3 and 4 together rather than separately. They are covering the same sort of thing, once just for precinct meetings, once for county conventions. Is there objection to considering amendments 3 and 4 together? Hearing no objection, that will be the case. Now recognizing the gentleman for his motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we adjourn until 2 p.m. so that everyone has an opportunity to make it to the breakout sessions timely.
Gentleman, please state his name and county of residence.
John McLean, Mecklenburg County.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Is there a second to the motion to adjourn? Name and county, please. Chair thanks the gentleman. According to this morning's agenda, it is the time in which we have set to stop our business session and move into breakout sessions. There is also, I believe, an opportunity to register. Is that correct? That comes up. Then there's a luncheon, and we return to our afternoon business session following that. All those in favor of adjourning until the afternoon business session, please signify. Gentlelady rises to a point of information. Well, the agenda has not been formally adopted, and the motion to adjourn is in order at any time. So I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, yes, as the chair understands, the breakout session is supposed to begin at 10:45. The chair's line by line has us ending at 10:30 with breakouts beginning at 10:45. But the motion is up for a vote. All those in favor of adjourning to the afternoon business session, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. We'll do this by standing vote. All those and persons who wish to vote and are incapable or physically incapable of standing, if they'll just please make certain that the chair is able to see by waving or some such fashion, the chair is able to see them. All those in favor of adjourning at this time, please stand and remain standing. Douglas may be seated. Those opposed, please stand. Independent chair, the ayes have it. Well, the session is adjourned until this afternoon. The convention will hold on for just a minute. We do have a couple of quick announcements. Recognizing the chairman of the North Carolina Republican Party, Mr. Claude Pope.
Great, thank you. We have
Mr. Chairman. Gentleman will suspend.
Great. Thank you. This morning's breakout sessions, we have a social media breakout session upstairs on the 3rd floor. We also have a grassroots breakout session on the 3rd floor. And we also have in room 1619 in the SoCo Tower, Kim Strack, the director of the Board of Elections, will be holding a discussion on the recent election laws. And finally, I had the privilege of drawing a ticket for the winner of a Wake County drawing for an AK something, AR-15. Some alphabetic soon. And the winner is Fred Moore. Thank you very much, and we'll see you guys back here at 2. We'll see you in the breakout sessions in just a few minutes.
Mr. Chairman, is a point of personal privilege in order?
The session is adjourned. The gentleman may speak as long as people listen. I'm talking about the Anson County announcement. I'm going to make it this afternoon when there are more people here. You want me to at you or like him?
Is that the one you're going or? Okay, I'll go social media.
Yeah, I thought I'd blink. Thank you. Thank you, Paul.